Hey there, YouTube. Fallout here, and we have a Destiny 2 TWID today. That is actually not a nothing burger. It is a something burger. And I've already read through it with my Twitch chat. They're saying hi right now. You should come join us in Twitch. But we're gonna go through it. If you haven't read it yet, I'll trim all the fat. We'll cover only the important stuff that they dropped. The TLDR here is that there are sandbox and ability changes coming in the next episode, Revenant, which is coming in October. They are making noticeable changes to the Titan class. So if you are a Titan main, you're kind of eating good today, in my opinion. So we're going to go through everything that they have here, and we'll talk about it. And if the people in my lovely Twitch chat have an opinion on anything in particular, they can feel free to weigh in. Okay, so we have a article going live next week on Wednesday, September 25th. I will probably stream that. So if you want to swing by, we'll read all about it. That'll be cool. And here we go. These are one of two things that the TWID goes over before getting into the Titan ability changes and stuff like that. One of them is we have a change to Nightfall focusing. Zavala's focus decoding has received an update. The weekly featured Nightfall weapon and the adept version of said weapon have been moved to a new featured category with updated costs that are listed right there. So cool. If you're interested in farming those Nightfall weapons, adept or otherwise, yay. And next season we have Whirlpool weapons are going to be farmable in Lost Sectors right away. In the past, it used to be we would have to wait until the next season or the next episode or whatever for the Lost Sector Whirlpool loot pool to update. Not going to be that way in Revenant. Right away, we're going to have that Whirlpool weapon availability in Lost Sectors. And we got a couple of groups here. They're telling us what the weapons are. We got 4 redacted weapons. We don't know about that. But if you enjoy any of these other weapons, yeah, feel free, I guess, to farm in Lost Sectors. I'm not sure if I would farm any of these weapons, but I don't know. We'll see. Moving right along. Power band increasing. Okay, people in the chat weigh in on if you like this or don't like this, because we've heard some things. I've heard from people who misquote the grind in D2. I've heard from other people that they really don't like this change at all. But Bungie is making some power changes. Basically, the grind is kind of back. So they're happy with how Fireteam Power is working, because Fireteam Power allows you to bring in a friend and then boom, they're right up to your, or just beneath your power level if you're a real grinder. Starting on October 8th with Revenant and again in the next episode, we'll once more be increasing power caps by 10 to return that pursuit to endgame players. The resulting power bands in Revenant will be as follows. Power floor, the lowest the thing can be, 1900. You do all the story stuff, you'll hit that soft cap, 1950. Then when you've hit the soft cap, you got to do powerfuls to get up to 2000. Then when you're at 2000, you got to do pinnacles to get to the new pinnacle cap of 2010. I get the rationale why Bungie is doing this. I don't know if I agree. I get why they're doing it. We've all played Final Shape. Final Shape was a banger. Player numbers are definitely low right now. And the latest episode is over. I would say we're in a content lull right now, which I think most people would probably agree with. And I think they're just doing this because they want people to come back and grind. I think if they never raised the power level, the success of Fireteam Power would basically make it so that it would be very rare. Players basically wouldn't need to grind at all. Because if you have one person in your group of friends that plays actively and is at the power cap, and you play with them, boom, Fireteam Power brings you right up. I get why they're doing it. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about it, but I get why they're doing it. They're increasing the artificial grind, correct. I don't mind it. I do like the feeling of when I have stuff to do, of when I have like, when I have something to do in Destiny, I'm usually a happy guy. I understand though that not everybody agrees with that feeling. So let me know how you feel about it. I think that they're probably going to get a lot of feedback regarding this change on social media. Guess we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's not that big of an increase. It's only what, going up by 10, going from 2000 to 2010. Still, I think people are going to be pissed off by that. And I understand their reactions. I feel like it's just increasing artificial grind. But controversy. The D2 player's best friend. Okay, moving on to what many of you probably are the most interested in is the ability changes and the overall core changing to the Titan kit. Renegade. Sadly, I uninstalled. Damn. All right, moving on. They want to kind of change the Titan power fantasy here, is what they're attempting to do. So they have the combat gameplay team here to talk about the role of the Titan. So they have the Titan class identity reinforcement. And they give a little flavor text here. Titans are the bulwarks of the fire team. They're on the front lines of battle, but they're not just punching machines, guys. They're not just punching machines. They're tanks. So they're actually making a big change to the Titan kit in the form of the barricade, which I'll read now. Starting with Revenant, we're testing a change to barricades and other shields that will give the Titan more of a traditional tank role. Titan barricade will now taunt enemies in front of the barricade. The taunt only occurs while there's a player standing behind the barricade. I really, really like this change. Oh my God, have I had music on this whole time? Oh, thank God I turned music off. Let's go. Thought YouTube was going to crack me over the head with a wooden spoon. I like this change a lot. I think that that is a cool feature for the Titan kit to get. If the Titans are going to be more of like a tank, this is a defining quality of the tank. Like the big guy, not only the big guy in battle on the front line of the battle, kind of being like, hey, get over here. Don't focus the weak hunter. Focus me, right? Put your attention on me. I really like that change. And apparently, the Titan's Unbreakable Shield and Sentinel Shield Guard will also taunt enemies, allowing you to become a mobile aggro magnet. If this change plays well, we're hoping to add the functionality to more of the Titan's defensive abilities like Ward of Dawn in the future. If you're in the Twitch chat right now, let me know how you feel about that change. I really like that change. I think it's smart. I think it's fun. I think it gives the Titan a little bit more personality, kind of like a little bit more flavor in the heat of combat. I think that's a good change. I hope it does well. And I kind of hope it makes the Titan player numbers go up a little bit. I don't know if y'all remember when they showed the player numbers for the Final Shape raid. It was like that many people played Titan who completed the raid, and like 1 million people. You know, the percentage for Titan was very low. So I think it's a fun idea. Might make Unbreakable slightly useful. I think Unbreakable is slept on, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I think that they'll be much more likely to pick Titan if this plays out the way that I'm hoping it will. Bungie mentions that some enemies are kind of programmed to have other objectives, like going to a wyvern, going to a conflux. So the barricade taunt won't override that. But it will taunt if you're behind the barricade. You can't just drop a barricade and the enemies will run to it. You have to be behind the barricade. But again, I think that is pretty cool. A couple more changes. To support the Titan's new aggro lifestyle, we've made more adjustments to barricades and Unbreakable. Towering Barricade and Rally Barricade, all classes, reduced non-boss combatant damage dealt to the barricade by 50%. So the barricade a little beefier. Increased splash damage reduction from combatants for players behind the barricade from 20 to 60%. Barricades now grant moderate DR versus combatants during the cast animation. That is pretty cool. I like all of that. Unbreakable, damage blocked by Unbreakable will now generate grenade energy. Great. Increased max duration that the shield can be held. Forward movement speed now slows down briefly when the shield is shot. Don't like that one in particular, but I get it. You can't just be a running Usain Bolt aggro magnet, right? You're going to slow down a little bit. I get that. Reduced Unbreakable throw attack damage versus players by 20%. Increased damage bleed through from players by 15%. Fully charged unbreakable attacks will now one-shot barricades in PvP, except when the barricade is under the effects of Hilo. I'm sorry, Hoil, not Hilo, Hoil. I really like these changes. I think they're great. I can't wait to see what that feels like in both PvE and PvP. I do love Unbreakable, but it can just be completely being useless if enemies ignore you. Right. Well, I like to use Unbreakable really offensively, but this, I think, will... You won't have to worry about enemies ignoring you, which is nice. So, yay. Although I am interested about how that'll all play out in PvP. We'll see. We'll see. Void Overshield is getting a buff in PvE. Increased Void Overshield PvE damage resist from 50 to 70%. That increases the maximum effective HP from 90 to 150. Thumbs up from me. I guess Bungie really is tired of people not playing Titan. Prismatic Titan. Got changes coming to Prismatic Titan. YouTube chat, what is your favorite movie snack? We talk about food a lot on Twitch. Consecration. Scorch and Slam Waves will shatter a stasis crystal. I think that is a good change for Prismatic Titan. Diamond Lance. Thrown or Slam Diamond Lance will now shatter a stasis crystal. Slamming a Diamond Lance will give you and nearby allies 2 stacks of Frost Armor. Change the weapon tray HUD to display how many seconds are remaining before the Diamond Lance disappears like a tangle. Great. Knockout. Melee kills now cancel health and shield stun in addition to healing, allowing you to immediately start regenning. Apparently, they made that nerf a while ago and the effect was too negative, so they are undoing it. Nox is trying to instigate a riot in the chat. We do fight about food a lot. Shiver Strike. Now attaches a stasis explosive to the target on impact. The changes to Shiver Strike seem really good, in my opinion, if you are a Freezy Boy Titan main. Refunds 80% melee energy on a whiff. I like that change a lot. I think it'll turn Shiver Strike into much more of a movement tech option in PvP, which seems really interesting. Increased energy recharge rate by 12.5%, and immediately after landing a Shiver Strike attack, the attacker's melee ability is suppressed for half a second. If you're confused about why that is a thing, they're trying to remove the double melee thing. There's like a thing with the Titan where you fire up a Shiver Strike melee and you lock onto them, you zoom in, smack them, and while you launch them away, you immediately mash the melee button and you do a double melee. Kind of annoying. I'm glad that they're changing that. It's rare that you deal with that, but it is annoying when you have to deal with it. And then we have the Facet of Command and Echo of Domineering cooldown is being reduced. And if you can't remember what those are, the Facet of Command is the one where if you freeze or suppress a target, you get a couple buffs and you generate either a Void Breach or a Stasis Shard. And then for Echo of Domineering, it is the Void only version of that fragment where if you suppress an enemy, you get a couple buffs and you get a Void Breach. So they're really lowering the timer on that from 11 to 4, which is really fast. So you're going to be able to take advantage of that much more frequently. I think that's a good idea. Okay, and then finally we have a change that we've been going back and forth in the Twitch chat about. I'm going to read it. And before I read it, I'm going to ask my Twitch chat to weigh in. Chat, do you like this change or do you not like this change? I may ask Anno later, not now. Anna's a Titan main. So, they are going to buff the Titan melee damage, the unpowered Titan melee damage. Their logic is that the Titan is kind of the pillar of being a physical punching class. Like, they're the punch class, right? So if they're the punch class, then according to Bungie logic, they, quote, should punch harder than the other classes, right? So what they're going to do, Titan unpowered melee, increase damage against players by 5%, increase damage against PvE combatants by 20%, and increased the stun multiplier. Yeah, a couple of mixed feelings in chat right now. Excited to try, think it is a horrible idea in PvP. Yeah, you know, see, the thing about the double melee, for in PvP. This isn't going to change anything in the double melee department. It's not like, oh well, only Titans can double melee. Warlock and Hunter, they got a triple melee, right? But it will change situations where maybe if a Titan is shooting you with an SMG or a sidearm or whatever, then they're going to have to hit you with maybe one less bullet before finishing you off with a melee. And that could make them like a hair more lethal. It's just strange because, yeah, Tom Hoons, right? So it's like if they're leaning into that aspect, are they going to give the Warlock some kind of buff for being like the magic mystical class? Like, oh, their grenades are stronger. Or the Hunters jump slightly higher, or the Hunters run a little bit faster. I don't know. It's an interesting change. I don't think it'll be devastating. I think it'll probably be fine. I'm going to hope that it's fine. Knock on wood. I will, at the very least, applaud Bungie for taking risks because they want people to play the game. So why not shake up the snow globe a little bit? I'm just hoping that it doesn't become, too annoying of a thing in PvP. I think it's an interesting change, but we'll see how it shakes out. I won't comment on it too much until it drops because sometimes I feel like the community gets a little too bit. The sky is falling before we even get our hands on a change, but I get it. We'll see how it goes. Moving on, we have changes to roaming supers and a couple changes for Warlocks in general, which I'm really not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see. For Storm Trance, increased DR from 53% to 58%. Sure, why not? That isn't wood. This is wood. This whole thing is made out of wood, baby. Where was I? Chaos Reach. Increased DR from 45 to 55%. Increased an issue where Chaos Reach would not jolt at high frame rates. Another classic, funny example of shit in D2 breaking due to high frame rate. Love it. Fixed an issue where Chaos Reach would not go through Sentinel Shield, Guard, or a Sight and Barricade, which is funny. Nova Warp. Increased PvE damage by 20%. Increased DR from 51 to 58. Any Nova Warp detonation will apply volatile, regardless of how big or small the charge is. So regarding the Nova Warp change, chat, I don't know if many players, Warlock players, are going to change from Nova Bomb to Nova Warp due to these changes, right? Nova Bomb is really, really, really good. Nova Bomb is like top shelf burst damage in PvE right now. You cast it, it's a quick super, you pop it immediately, you can hit people from range, big respectable damage, and then you go back to weapon DPS. It's really good, right? Also, yes, funny big ball. True. You could throw on Nova Warp for, my example earlier was like, if you're playing an activity like Onslaught, right? You're going through killing trash and ad clear waves, and there's no boss to speak of. You could use Nova Warp for that. And when you get to the boss encounter, you drop a rally banner, and then you change to Nova Bomb. But I don't know, man. I don't really see a world where Nova Warp eclipses Nova Bomb. Unless maybe they nerfed Nova Bomb, and we just don't know about it yet, and they're planning on nerfing Nova Bomb later. Unsure. But, yeah, I think they'd have to do more to make me take off Bomb and put on Warp. Moving on. They're buffing Golden Gun because why? I mean, sure, why not? I think Hunters will take it. Increased damage against base elite mini-boss combatants by 30%. Great. Huge. Spectral Blades increased PvE damage by 20%. Increased DR from 47 to 58%. I don't know if that is going to really move the needle for Spectral Blade in PvE. Roaming supers are just kind of like inferior, in my opinion, to PvE supers that are just big burst damage, hit them hard, one and done. Titan Glacial Quake. Howl of the Storm can be used when Glacial Quake is active. Okay, sure. Twilight Arsenal. Titan players, good news. We've had a tracking buff before for Twilight. Yes. But have we had second Twilight buff? Now we have. Apparently they're going to track closer to the reticle. We've heard this before. Hopefully they actually do a decent job and the third axe doesn't fly off into fucking Narnia, because Twilight Arsenal, I don't know what is going on with Twilight Arsenal. We'll see how that does. But they're also improving the relic weapon damage versus combatants by 23%, which is nice. Yeah, Dark, Titans are eating real good today. Real good. Thunder Crash. Increased base detonation damage by 33%. That is big. I'm assuming that there may be more changes going into Revenant, because if that is kind of like, I'm expecting, okay, they're going to increase the Thunder Crash damage, but they might fiddle with other things, certain exotics maybe, that improve Thunder Crash damage, if you know what I'm saying. Because if they don't do any tweak there, this is a pretty good change. Thunder Crash, yeah, again, Titans are eating really good out here. Fist of Havoc, spelled incorrectly. Increased DR from 51 to 58. I did, Nox. They're going to demonetize me. Damn it. Changed how the light attack works under the hood to improve consistency and increase light attack lunge range. Again, they want you to use roaming supers in PvE more. I don't know if I'm going to, but we will see. Maybe they are going to feel much better than how it appears on paper. Yeah, so more stuff. And this is where, again, possible arguing may be happening right now on Twitter and Reddit as we speak. Also, water is wet. Okay, Lightning Surge. If you are unfamiliar, the Warlock ability, the melee ability, where you run and you slide and hit the melee button, and you just kind of turn into a ball of lightning, like the slide melee explosion for Warlocks. They're actually buffing that. They are buffing that, which I don't think anyone was really asking for. In fact, the two things that I hear when people bring up complaining in PvP is Hunter Prismatic too strong and too ubiquitous, and we have the Warlock Lightning Surge. To be fair, it's not a huge buff. It's more of a specific usage change. If there's a Titan behind a barricade, then the Warlock now has more DR when going through the barricade to challenge the Titan. Which, as a Warlock player, okay, sure, I don't mind that at all. I think it's kind of funny. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't know if we need that. I think it might encourage more Lightning Surge Warlocks in PvP, which I don't know if we need. I feel like we need less abilityage in PvP. This might be pushing the needle gently in the other direction. We will see. And casting Lightning Surge will make you amplified. It sounds like evil fun. It will be evil fun for sure. I'm definitely going to cackle when I go behind a Titan barricade and kill him. But it is really frustrating to fight Lightning Surge Warlocks, and I'm worried that this will make more of them in PvP. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section if you have opinions. Okay, now we have the Prismatic Hunter, which Prismatic Hunter is really popular. But they're making some changes here, and here's what they are. The Hail Fire Spike Prismatic Grenade added projectile tracking and aim assist to increase consistency in hitting people. Great, no complaints here. Threaded Spectre increased detonation damage against PvE combatants by 33%. Don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Swarm Grenade, everybody's favorite, the Hunter Prismatic Swarm Grenade, which is kind of like still running quite strong in PvP. The Swarm Grenade, a lot of people don't know this, you can actually shoot and break the little particles in the air. You can shoot them and if you break them, they go away. And now they're going to be easier to shoot and break in the upcoming change, and they can now chain detonate. So in theory, I think the change they're hoping for, Hunter throws the Swarm Grenade at you in Trials, you shoot one of the little submunition explodey things, and all of them, they just chain collapse on each other. So you can break a Hunter Swarm Grenade easier, like breaking a Hunter Trip Mine Grenade, right? So is the Solar Swarm Grenade different from Prismatic? No, they're the same. I said Prismatic just because Prismatic Hunter, way more popular in PvP than the Solar Hunter currently. For the PvE side, Hunter Combination Blow is getting a change because it's really good. And yeah, Combination Blow has been strong AF in PvE for a while. So what they're doing is they are changing the healing factor from a flat 80 to what we believe is diminishing returns. We had somebody in the chat earlier who I haven't heard from telling me I was obviously wrong and dumb for assuming that, but the numbers are going from right to left. And they're mentioning that they're trying to make it more about damage than survivability. So if the number went from 40, 60, 80, 100, if it went up in terms of how much health you got back, that to me doesn't seem like making it more about damage and less about survivability. I think that would be kind of a buff because you'd be raising the ceiling from 80 to 100. I think they wrote it left. I don't think it was a mistake. I think they're writing it left to right because I think it is diminishing returns. I think they want the focus of Combination Blow to be more on the damage that you dish out as opposed to using Combination Blow to forever stay alive. So the more you rely on Combination Blow, the damage will remain the same, but you can't use it as a crutch to live further because of the diminishing returns. No longer clears health and shield on a stun kill and removed the 1.5 second internal cooldown on healing. Yeah, so slightly bad news if you're a hunter. I feel like the hunters will be very vocal about that change in particular, but we'll see. But if you get 100 on one kill, it's arguably safer than needing. Yeah, they didn't completely butcher it. I mean, you're still going to get quality health. For the first 2 stacks, it's actually better, right? It's because you get 100 and then 80 as opposed to 80 and then 80. So yeah, it's just when people are using Combination Blow repeatedly, then you get those diminishing returns. As a diehard hunter main, I think all those changes are totally fine, Tofu Rabbit. I mean, great. I love hearing feedback. I'll chat with a few more hunters, see how they feel. Wrapping up. Okay, that's all they have in terms of buffs for the Titan. It changes for the Hunter and changes for the Warlock. All the rest of the TWID is kind of fluff. We got the art show, which looks cool. And then if you want the Bungie bounty, they got one coming up on September 25th. And they're putting out a gigantic 10-year orbit music video on YouTube. Great. Oh, final thing maybe worth noting is the Skywatch increased enemy density. They're trying to make that easier because people have complained that the Skywatch part of the Legend title is a huge pain in the gooch. Fine. Are you saying that because you finished it already? Oh, man. Okay, and then Artist of the Week, yada, 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 Movie of the Week, GG. Okay, those are the changes in a nutshell. I hope I summarized them for you decently. I think this is pretty good. I think the things that people will complain about or the most vocal feedback will be regarding the changes in the power cap and the changes to the Warlock electric melee. For PvP, you'll hear about that. And for PvE, you'll hear about Hunters and Combination Blow. Titans are eating good, though. Titan stocks are up. Level that Titan if you plan on playing Revenant in October. I will be playing Revenant in October. Anyway, thank you very much. Sorry for the live read. I know people usually prefer, I think people prefer the polished, edited video. I don't know. If you like the edited style of video more, let me know by clicking the like button on today's video and come join us in Twitch chat sometimes. We have a great time out here. Thanks for watching. Peace.